answer session. All right, so thank you for everyone that sent some questions in, and I have 5 questions that I'm gonna cover, so here we go. All right, so let's get right to it. Remember, leave comments, shoot me questions, hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Let's see, here is a question. I want to compete, but my dojo doesn't. Okay, so you are taking a martial arts style. Let's not even make it about karate. We're going to talk, you want to do competitions, but where your training does not do competitions. Well, now you have a choice to make. So I would say you need to sit down and talk to your instructor and tell them how you feel. And if maybe they don't have the experience, or that's just not something that they like to do, you might want to look elsewhere. And I'm not saying you should leave the school that you're at, especially if you've been there for a while, but it would be good to maybe attend or search online. You can find anything. I mean, shoot me a message if you need to, and find with these competitions, at least to go see what it's like, go watch, talk to people there. You might be able to cross-train, at another school at the same time, because if that's what you want and that's what is your goal, then don't waste time somewhere that's not fulfilling that need. All right, so speak to your instructor and tell them how you feel, and if you have to search elsewhere, then you might have to be training at one place for your competition and at your school because you like it there, you have friends, and just make sure that you don't regret not taking that leap and going in the direction that you want to go from the beginning. Okay, another question. Can you learn karate online? Okay, well, obviously I do have online classes, and I do believe you can learn karate online. I believe you can learn most martial arts online, with the exception of maybe like judo or jiu-jitsu or something where you definitely need another partner. I mean, if you have a partner, then you can do it online, right? You need 2 people in that case. But if you're training by yourself, can you learn online? Or even by yourself, you still need a partner at the end of the day. So you can definitely learn techniques. You can obviously strengthen yourself. You can study and understand, the technical aspect of martial arts. I'm not even gonna say karate, I'm gonna say martial arts. Because the information is there and you're studying the information. But at the end of the day, you must be able to apply that. So for it to actually work for you, depending on what you want, if you want to do competition, if you're doing it for self-defense, you have to pressure test it, which means you have to do combat with another person. You have to, grab, you need to know what it's like to get hit and to block and to push, and you need that physical hands-on training. At the end of the day, martial arts is a hands-on discipline, and just watching videos, it's like I could read a book on how to drive, not even how to drive, let's say I could read a book about how to fly a helicopter, right? And I could know everything about the book, I could memorize the book, but until I don't get behind sit in that cockpit of a helicopter and actually fly it hands-on, I don't know how to fly a helicopter, right? All I know is everything the book said. So karate is the same way, right? Online videos are awesome. They're a great reference. You can study it, but at the end of the day, we need to get hands-on and apply what we're learning. Okay, next question. Should I train in other styles at the same time? Okay, so I guess the question is, should you cross-train? Should you do like different styles at the same time? Okay, so, this is like a yes or no question. All right, so if you're brand new, regardless of what you're doing, I would suggest no. So I think you need to have a foundation in whatever it is you're practicing, and then maybe you can cross-train in another style. The only exception would be like if you were doing a stand-up style, like let's say you were learning Muay Thai or karate or Taekwondo, well then I would say you could combine that with like judo or jiu-jitsu, right? Because totally different. One's focused on the ground, one's focused on standing up. The reason I would not do, say, boxing and, actually no, let's say taekwondo and karate, a traditional karate style at the same time, is there could be a little bit of confusion, especially if you're brand new. I mean, if you're like a black belt and you've been doing it for many years, okay, at that point you should be able to switch between styles depending what day it is. That's actually one of the skills of advancing. You need to adapt. But if you're brand new, I would stick to one style. Stay there for a while, a year at least. Spend time. Obviously, I say a year, but it really comes down to consistency. If I say a year, you're going once a week, that's not good, right? So, consistency, right? Build a foundation, and then maybe, unless it's not fulfilling your needs, and then you need to try another style so that you can learn it, good. But you have to build a basic understanding of one style before you really start venturing off to others, right? So martial arts is a journey. It's not like you get a certificate and you've mastered it. That's not how it works. It takes many, many years. Personally, I've been doing martial arts 30 years, right? So yes, I have a karate school, but I started in taekwondo, I've done capoeira, I've trained professional boxers, professional kickboxers. I've taken classes with kung fu instructors. I've, jiu-jitsu. I've done wrestling. So all those life experiences eventually just all kind of put it all together, and you learn a much deeper understanding. Like we'll do katas, and sometimes I'm like, oh, this is totally a jiu-jitsu move. Or this is, oh, we used to do this in wrestling, So there's the more you expose yourself, the more that you will learn. But at the beginning, you really just need to build a foundation. When I did wrestling, I was doing wrestling and I was doing taekwondo, right? Two totally separate things, and they don't cause any confusion between the two. So that would be my answer. Stick to one. If you really want to do two, well, then they have to not interact, like ground and stand up, and have one should have nothing to do with the other one, at least on the foundation level. So that's what I would say. Stick to one for now. If you're a go-getter and you have to do it, well, then definitely don't do two stand-ups at the same time. Do a ground and a stand-up style. Okay, so last question: is karate good for self-defense? Well, yes and no, right? So yes, it is awesome for self-defense because that was the original purpose, right? So karate was not recreational. It was not in the school systems. It was not for winning medals and trophies. It was for self-defense, right? So it depends on your training. So just because you have a black belt, just because you train 5 days a week, it doesn't mean that the karate you're doing or the martial art that you're doing is good for self-defense. So self-defense is very dirty. There are no rules. So true self-defense is exactly that. Somebody grabs you, poke them in the eye, grab the skin, or stick your finger in their mouth, it's just dirty. Break a knee, like bend that finger, dislocate it, things like that, hit the neck. You don't do that. Depending how old you are, there's no class where they're teaching 8-year-olds to, hit someone in the neck and poke them in the eyes and try to rip their ear off, right? So understand that martial arts can be used for self-defense, of course, and the more you understand it, the better your chances of applying it in self-defense. But not all programs are self-defense programs, right? So there's many recreational schools where, yeah, sure, you're learning to punch and kick and, block the knife like this and disarm the gun like this. But in theory, it's cool. You might see it in movies and it looks cool, but they've never actually applied it to a real life circumstance or tried, hey, swing with, I'm not saying swing with a knife, but, swing with a pen and see if you can disarm the person before the marker touches you. And it doesn't work, right? Because the training comes down to it. There's a lot of things that in theory should work, But until you've tested it, it's just theory, and you have to know what it's like under pressure, full speed, full force. Movies are awesome, choreography's awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do in martial arts, and it's all fun and games. But at the end of the day, it goes back to basic things when it comes to self-defense. So if you're looking for self-defense, make sure that your instructor or the school that you're looking at talks about it. So maybe you are at a school that does tournaments, and that's fine. Tournaments are a way of testing skills without hurting each other, right? There's a lot of coordination and timing and speed and conditioning involved in those types of schools. But if the instructor takes a few minutes to be like, oh, okay, well, today, everything, just grab them or see, fight with one hand behind your back. If they step out of that bubble of competition type training, you might have found a good school instructor where they are adding that discipline, or I'm sorry, not discipline, that self-defense aspect. So I believe there's 3 parts to martial arts. So I guess this question kind of goes on like picking a good school a little bit too, right? So if you're looking for self-defense, there's the sport aspect of it, there's the traditional aspect of it, and then there's the self-defense, right? So the self-defense one is much harder to find because it's dirty and not everyone teaches it. Or it's not taught until much higher levels, till you're a black belt. Unless you're looking at like an instructor that maybe they're teaching karate, but they have like a good military training, a Navy SEAL or Marine type of thing, or maybe they have Krav Maga experience, or they were a bouncer, they've had, or they were a police officer, so, they have that experience where they've actually had to use martial arts in the street. So in there, you're probably getting a good balance of both. Someone that's had to use it for self-defense, but they're teaching you a structured program, and depending on your age, you learn the self-defense mixed into it over time. So yes, it is definitely good for self-defense, but it comes down to where you're training and how you're training. All right, guys. Well, I hope those questions answered anything you might have thought of. If you have any more questions, shoot them to me. I love answering questions. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to shoot me some comments, hit the thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. All right, bye for now.